A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Hello, everyone. Things are going so fast and furious right now. In not Trump's first 100 days, Trump's first 10 days, that some things that I would consider doing a regular full show, audio also release, are happening too quick. So for now, this is going to be a video exclusive. This will probably attach to a regular show, maybe more, because this needs to be covered. But for now, today, I'm looking at my clock, calendar, not my clock. Tuesday, February the 11th, on in the background on my TV as we speak, Trump and Elon at the White House, not quite a press conference, but a press meeting where the press is asking questions is going on as I speak. Well, first and foremost, I want to address one thing that Elon keeps getting pushback on, and it's just so amazing. The left, yeah, some CINOs and rhinos too, but a lot of the CINOs and rhinos are just kind of trying to stay quiet and stay hidden. The left and the leftist and the media are protecting common sense, simple things, concepts of audits, like Elon has said 3 times now in the amount of time that I've been watching and broke away to do this. At the IRS and some other places, there are fields for payment codes and fields of why is this being paid as part of this payment code, like for bottled water or, food and beverages at such and such, right? Okay. Food and beverage service code, whatever. Food and beverage, then the justification, definition, description field for IRS offices. And whether we should be providing that or they should be paying for themselves, we can argue about, but there is one argument to be made to oppose that you actually be required to fill in the fields you are already required to fill in, so that indeed the books can be looked at and audited, and we, the people, the actual bosses, with some transparency, we're finally trying to get. No, where the hell is the IRS's money going to? FEMA's money going to? Homeland Security's money going to? Now, I'm going to get into a couple pieces I've dropped. The Pentagon, kind of a special situation. The CIA, obviously, a special situation. We can't let out all our nation's secrets laid bare in. All right, so let me go there. I'm going to control tab here for a second so I can go over to my Before's News and Substack pages and find the piece where, let me scrolling apart, I beg your pardon, but Doge and overall taxation was recently replete. Department of Education, the attempted insurrection. That's not what I'm looking for now. Eliminate the penny. Please go to my at J Leonard Detroit or Joseph M. Leonard. I'll try to edit in shortcut links because this will air audio eventually. Substack, https://tinyurl.com/JLD on Substack. Same for before it's news. tinyurl.com/JLD articles. And for my pieces at the Liberty Beacon, tinyurl.com/JLD on TLB. I'm trying to make it easy for you to see my exposés on the exposing of the government waste, fraud, and abuse going on. Another piece, cooking the books. A piece I just dropped a few minutes ago, reports FEMA cut yet more checks to house illegals. Now, I'm trying to think, I think it's in the cooking the books, why the left fears Doe's transparency. I discuss Pentagon and CIA budgets. Absolutely, there is fraud there. We know it. I expect some fraud to be there. Like, by way of example, I'll get to the Pentagon. We don't want all our nation's secrets laid bare for our enemies to know what's going on. It's a national security issue. So there are black book projects, off budget projects. So fraud is built in to protect secret projects. Remember years back, do you really, really think we were paying $200 for a hammer? The $200 for the hammer is what was listed on the books, because some of that $200 was actually for secret stuff we don't want our enemies to know about. So the Pentagon and the CIA are kind of special in that sense. So am I surprised the Pentagon failed 7 audits? No, because we expect there's going to be some money laundering and fraud to hide secret projects, which is not to say there isn't indeed waste, personal fraud, money laundering, kickbacks, and abuse there that we indeed have to look at and root out. But there is going to be some monies hidden, and I, for one, want some of those monies to continue to be hidden, not from us, we the people, but because of security reasons, our foreign enemies. How does this not make sense to fellow conservatives, constitutionalists, Republicans? We're supposed to be the party, and I say this is it in the Cooking the Books Why Left Fears Doge, or the piece I just released, I think it was, reports FEMA cut yet more checks to house illegals. We're supposed to be the party of logic, reason, common sense, rule of law, which means contract law. So let me get into that a bit. FEMA cut yet more checks to hotels to house illegals. Well, sorry, people, to you emotionally hysterical, non-thinker snowflakes, because yes, we have some of them on the right. We have to honor our obligations. We have said
new administration, you will no longer be paid to house illegal immigrants, period. If you choose to do so going forward, you do so on your own dime or work with a charity to raise the funds to cover those costs. But going forward, that doesn't mean people who, in good faith, while you and I do not agree with, if I were operating a hotel, I would have never, ever allowed myself or where I worked, or I would have left, enter into an agreement to house illegal aliens. But some did with the prior administration that was engaging in unconstitutional activity. Those obligations, those contracts still have to be paid for. The billing isn't going to stop now. Billing is going to happen for 30, 60 days for past monies due. Those obligations have to be met. In reports, FEMA cut yet more checks to house illegals. I go into I lost my train of thought here for a second now. But that point, past billing obligations. Oh, the left is currently through, they're saying Trump is going to cause a constitutional crisis. The left already has, by leftist activist judges, not constitutional jurists, acting on leftist activism, accusing Trump, saying Trump cannot pay people to retire early, right? Early retirements or buyouts, right? Except a buyout happens all the time in the private sector, and take this early buyout, although in the private sector, they're not getting 8 months pay. You're lucky if you get 30, 60, 90 days pay and benefits covered for 30, 60, 90 days. Or, yeah, guess what? You could pay through COLA to cover your benefits, but we'll pay you your salary for 30, 60, 90 days to help you transition out to somewhere else. But the government's offering 8 months pay. I think that's ridiculous. 5 at the most. I get we want an incentive to get some of these people to leave voluntarily, and we're going to have to move on next to firing for fraud, waste, and abuse and dereliction of duty. But the left is saying, well, we're not sure they're really going to be paid. So therefore, we're going to block the program. You want to be as bad as the left now, saying, we're not sure he'll live up to the obligation and actually pay them. While you're arguing FEMA shouldn't cut the check to the hotels that already rendered the services they shouldn't have done, but they did and are owed monies for. At any rate, I'm going to leave it there. I could go on and on and on. Many of these things would have been their own episode, but I don't have weeks or months to be able to wait to get to this stuff because it's happening so fast. We got to discuss the issues now, and Republicans need to stop being as stupid as commie fasci sociis. Oh, crats. Use your brain, logic, reason, common sense. Because we may dislike something does not mean we're not still obligated to some degree to deal with it until the policy is indeed fully changed, fully stopped, fully rooted out. So, again, I'm looking at my Substack here, the same is mostly true of beforeitsnews.com. Reports, FEMA cut yet more checks to house illegals. Please read and share that. Cooking the Books, Why Left Fears Doge Transparency. Read and share that to fellow Republicans you know are not using their brains. are acting emotionally. We've got to be the logic and reason party. Decades ago, I wrote a piece, the GOP, the party of no. What do I mean by that? Remember, Chucky Schumer and the left called us the party of no and oh. Well, my rebuttal, and Thaddeus McConnell, who was in Congress at the time, that I know at that time, saw what I was saying, saw what I was doing, and it indeed became a Republican talking point at one point for a while. The party of KNOW, because we know better. Sadly, some Republicans don't know any better. They're just an emotional snowflakes too. Logic, reason, knowing, facts, evidence, reality, not delusion. Some Republicans need to hear this message. Please go to these articles and share them with your email contact list. Please, I beg of you. I hate to have to do that, but this information needs to be shared with some Republicans as well as those independents who keep getting fooled and bamboozled by the left.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Joseph M. Leonard, host of Constitutionals, taking a brief moment to thank myarchit.com. Together, we share the Christian and family value of honoring family. myarchit.com helps you do that. Preserving family memories online also, therefore, can be shared online. Think of myArchit like a Noah's Ark for images, audio, video, preserving, honoring your family. Thank you again to the folks over at myarchit.com.
Another one, thoughts and prayers. Another censor or YouTube controversy. Eliminate the penny. Good, bad, indifferent. Let's examine all the angles. I don't have time to go into that today. Please, Substack or before it's news. Eliminate the penny. Good, bad, indifferent. Let's examine all the angles, not just left or right spin. On there also. In there also, I mean, not on there. In there also, I go back and examine the Harriet Tubman replacing Andrew Trail of Tears Jackson on the $20 bill, and I offer an actual solution to that problem to get past the leftist, leftard, race-baiting bullshit objections, their desire to keep Andrew Trail of Tears Jackson Democrat on the 20 when under G.W. Bush, a little more here, right? It was put in place that Harriet was to replace Jackson on the 20. The Democrats kept resisting. Obama completely scrubbed it. Trump's first term, he tried to resurrect it, but nothing happened. It's time to, what? Maybe create a new bill? What would be the left's objections? I go into all the reasons why a new bill makes sense in eliminate the penny, good, bad, indifferent, let's examine. And yes, I defend the penny. Okay, make it a tin and paint it copper. We can't pay 3 cents to produce a 1 cent coin. I get that. That is wasteful. But the prescription to just eliminate the penny, I love Trump to death, but that doesn't mean I check my brain at the door. It's about principles, not personalities. We still need the penny. I go into the reasons why and the slippery slope. We on the right, arguments often make, people always ignore. And then a few years later, we're saying, see, we told you so. You didn't listen. You wouldn't listen. So I support Trump when he's doing something I agree with, and that's 99% of the time. I do not support the elimination of the penny, and I lay out why in there. Another piece, Doge and overall taxation. Some people are saying, oh, we're cutting all this waste, fraud, and abuse. Taxpayers should be refunded all their taxes for the last 10 years or send $1 million. People, we're almost $40 trillion in debt. We're not going to get a balanced budget, let alone a surplus budget overnight. It's going to take years. And then we need to put the surplus to paying down the debt. So, yes, I'm for more making the current Trump tax cuts permanent, potentially viewing and adding some more, but we can't keep racking up deficits and more debt. We've got to get to balance, then to surplus and paying down debt. So are we all going to have our taxes cut, tax rates cut by 50% overnight? No. Ever? No. And shouldn't happen. We've got to address the debt. Also, another piece, the Gaza problem. Was Trump saying about, well, we're going to take it over and we're going to develop it. All right. Yeah. I look at the whole overall broader Gaza problem of Hamas and what's been going on for 70 plus years, not just the current status of needing to rebuild it. Look at the politics and the rebuilding aspect of it. Flashback 2024 and a look ahead to 2025, part 2. I'm trying to see when that dropped. Let me pop up that page. On Substack, Flashback 2024, part 2 dropped on February the 8th of this year, 2025. Please look at and share that to understand where we're going. Some people still don't grasp the where we've been to the why and how we need to correct the ship, right the ship to where we're going. Department of Education attempted insurrection, including several violent actions the left has taken many times. They talk over and over about January 6th being an insurrection, when in the past, in Michigan, Wisconsin, and in D.C., they had occupied buildings for days on end to interrupt government business. I go into that there, what the left will never let you know, what independents need to understand. Please go Substack or before it's news. Department of Education attempted insurrection. Share it with the independents that need to be red-pilled. The Fetterman rollover, it drives me crazy how many people are jumping up and down and on the Uncle Festerman bandwagon. He's a liar, he's a fake, he's a fraud, and he's already rolled over for Schumer and Soros in announcing he will refuse to vote for RFK Jr. and Tulsi. So it happened even sooner than I told you so was coming. He votes with Schumer and Pelosi 90% of the time. He is not a moderate. He is trying to cover his ass because his seat is up in 2026. Fetterman must be removed in 2026. Further back, Doge versus the IRS, leftist 7Ds, anything to avoid Doge. TDS is now DDS, Doge derangement syndrome. Federal tyranny, mistakes versus purposeful, willful, wantful, jackbooted thuggism. regarding Valentine's Day coming up. Am I the ass game in time for Valentine's gameplay? They go along with last Wednesday's show drop and this coming Wednesday, tomorrow, because today's Tuesday, the 11th, Wednesday the 12th, I will be dropping a Valentine's special with a dating expert. So you voted. So what? What are you doing now? The number of lazy people who have gone back to their couch and not paying any attention to what's going on the right, supposed Republicans that cry endlessly, people don't know what's going on, don't watch what's going on. They themselves are still also not paying attention. They're hypocrites. So you voted. So what? What are you doing now? Right now, in the next 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, next 2 years, next 2 decades. You don't get to just vote and then go back to sleep. It says, we the people in our founding documents for a reason. All right, anti-Semite, left, commie, fascist, sociocats, projection. Again, flashback part 1. Let me pop that up. I have to scroll, pop that up on Substack. It was released, I think, later than it was at Before It's News, or sooner. I forget which, but looking February the 1st of this year, flashback part 1 was officially released on Substack. Before that, turn your articles and blogs into a book. Egg prices to double. The why. What Biden did to try to make Trump look bad. And you're not hearing it even on the supposed conservative news stations. A must read and a must share, both at Substack and Before It's News, eventually probably coming again to the Liberty Beacon. Check out the video exclusive and that piece I mentioned on Substack and Before It's News. Scrolling up, called Thoughts and Prayers. That's because Roger with the Liberty Beacon had a stroke. That's why you're not seeing my stuff at the Liberty Beacon right now. He needs to recover. He needs to heal before my stuff can start getting back up on the Liberty Beacon again. At any rate, I have gone way longer than I expected to for this video exclusive, and it's so long now it's going to be hard to tack it on to future standard Saturday monologue episodes. So maybe I'll have to drop it as a next Tuesday special or something. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care. God bless.
The Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, normally in conjunction and corresponding with articles, can normally for the Saturday monologue shows be found at beforeitsnews.com, Substack, and find extended show notes, including related links, in the Buzzsprout episode edition of the transcript. Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.